Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our second annual Florida Patriot, honoring legal leaders, veterans, service to country and community. I'm Braulio Rosa, Executive Director of the Broward County Bar Association, and one of our two co-hosts for this program. Our second co-host is Courtney Richardson Jones. She is a federal prosecutor and a JAG officer in the U.S. Army Reserves. Welcome, Courtney.
Thank you for that warm welcome, Braulio. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a great program for you this evening. As a lawyer and officer currently serving in the Army Reserves, I'm truly honored to co-host this extremely meaningful program. I'm also a daughter of U.S. Army veterans, so it means even much more to me. This program is my co-host brainchild. Braulio, can you tell us a little about the genesis of the program?
Sure. Look, I'm a veteran, U.S. Navy. I did not serve in combat, but I'm very proud of the service that I gave to our country. And it's something, that love of country, that it's kind of a simple, humble pride, but you know that you love this country. And I noticed in our legal community that we have a lot of folks that served in the military or serve currently and serve our bar associations and our circuits in our community. And they're not recognized. And so for me, I thought this is a great way for us to partner across the state with the various bar associations to really recognize the great work that lawyers and judges in our legal community that are veterans do across the country, or across our great states. So with that, it's a great honor to host this program and to work with leaders across the state. And so what I'd like to do now is welcome our Florida Bar Military and Veterans Chairperson, James Heaton, who's one of my own here in Broward, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Swing that camera over, folks. We need to see the flag a little bit more. There you go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, James.
This event is a true collaboration, and it would not be possible without our partner host organizations and their leadership. Let me list their names. Feel free to use Zoom emotes to applaud and cheer for them as I read their names. So we have the Palm Beach County Bar Association, Executive Director Carla Tharp Brown and President-elect Grassford Smith. We have Okaloosa Bar Association and Walton County Bar Association, and we have Amelia Beard. Ninth Judicial Circuit, Hispanic Bar of Central Florida, Paul C. Perkins Bar Association, Greater Orlando Asian American Bar Association, and they're representing them. We have Chief Judge Lisa Munion, Judge Tarlika Navarro, Judge Gisela Laurent, President Cesar Nera, President Ashley Wright, President-elect David Yao. Lee County Bar Association, we have Executive Director Lauren Baugh and President Tiffany Pereira. Hillsborough County Bar Association, we have Executive Director John Kynes and Matt Hall. For the Jacksonville Bar Association, we have Executive Director Craig Shoup and President-elect Blaine McCarthy. 11th Judicial Circuit, Cuban American Bar Association, North Dade Bar. We have Chief Judge Nushin Safi, President Miriam Soler Ramos, and President Richard Chizever. Broward County Bar Association, we have Chief Judge Jack Tudor and President Allison Smith. And now Braulio will welcome all of the dignitaries who have joined us here. Braulio.
Folks, we have a ton of dignitaries that have joined us, and I would be reading the list all night. So I just want to thank all the judges, elected officials, bar leaders that have joined us tonight. We couldn't do this without you and your vision of supporting veterans in Florida. So thank you all. And with that, next, I would like to welcome the Florida Bar President, Gary Lesser, for a few remarks.
Thank you, Braulio, and kudos to you and all the voluntary bar associations that came together for this event, this very important event, recognizing the men and women who served our country and our armed forces. I think that it's not a coincidence that the event is this evening, this week, the week of Thanksgiving. Of all the things that we have to be thankful for, our family, our friends, our community. We are all thankful for the men and women who have served our country and who continue to do so. I would be remiss if I didn't do one shout out. And if you get to be older like me and start to put on a few years and you go to an event like this, you know most of the people being honored. But I'd like to give a special shout out, not to my judge, my friend from the 15th Judicial Circuit, but I'd like to give a shout out to John Agnew, who serves on the Board of Governors from the West Coast. He's a great bar leader. And to me, John typifies what happens when we see men and women leave military service or stay in, but take on service and leadership elsewhere. And they bring that same sense of duty and commitment and responsibility to everything that they do. So it's no surprise that we have an event like this, recognizing lawyers and judges who serve our community and who serve our legal profession and who serve our bench. And I want to say thank you to all of the men and women who have so served in the military and who serve our legal profession and our judicial branch now. The service you've done and continue to do is invaluable. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Braulio, for the honor of being here to say a few words. And it's going to be a very nice event. Congratulations to all of the recipients and honorees this evening.
Thank you, President Lesser. If we can just give, I guess, kind of a round of applause for those fantastic welcoming remarks. And now, Braulio, for a short word from our sponsors.
Next up, a big thank you to our sponsors, our exclusive flag sponsor, CRC Denny's, Corolla, Barnhart. Thank you to Saya for your support on this big time. I want to thank the Cuban American Bar Association, who's our Distinguished Service of Veterans Award. It's a new award that we're doing. They've sponsored this. Thank you so much. And President Miriam Soler Ramos, thank you. I want to thank actually our local annual sponsors, and some aren't so local, that support us, that actually enable us to afford this. And I'll just read quickly through their names. Kelly Eustall, Cash Now Funding, Florida Lawyers Mutual, Kelly Cronenberg, Keller Landsberg, Weiss Sirota, Healthman, Cole Bierman, Halser Pettis Schwam, First Horizon Bank, Clayton Trial Lawyers, Claims Investigation Agency, Schutz and Bowen, Construction Consulting Associates, Florida Power and Light, Upchurch White, Watson and Max, Montero Mediations, Inc., Oshiro PLLC, Galsterer and Abramowitz, LRI, U.S. Legal Sport, Land Infotech, the Elsley Law Firm, Fisk and Company, King Lindsay PA, the Quackenbush Law Firm, Anajar and Levine, Milestone Reporting, CBRE, CopyScan, and Quest Workspaces. And now I'd like to invite Saya, our exclusive flag sponsor, to say a few words.
Good evening, Braulio and members of the court and all of the honorees this evening. It's a pleasure to be here, and we at CRC Denny are truly honored to be able to serve as sponsors for this event. We really recognize the service that our veterans have given and the sacrifice that you all have made, the ultimate sacrifice really for our country. And then to translate that into becoming leaders in the legal profession is just a testament to that level of service. And so we really believe that you all are the fabric of our society. We're very honored to be a part of this event, and we want to just congratulate each and every one of the honorees. And thank you, Braulio, for headlining and spearheading this event, to all the organizations that are a part of it. It's really special, and we look forward to tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to our sponsors. Once again, we couldn't do this without you all. I mean, you're amazing. And, when I reach out, like say, I was like, I got you, and Miriam and all our sponsors. So thank you so much. And so now Courtney will actually announce who our Florida Patriot leaders are for this year.
So our Florida Patriot Legal Leader honorees are Sarah Oberliesen of the First Judicial Circuit, Judge Meredith Charbula of the Fourth Judicial Circuit, Judge Tina Caraballo of the Ninth Judicial Circuit, Judge Alberto Milian of the 11th Judicial Circuit, Judge Daryl Manning of the 13th Judicial Circuit, Judge Ted Booras of the 15th Judicial Circuit, Judge Elijah Williams of the 17th Judicial Circuit, John, my apologies, Agnew of the 20th Judicial Circuit and a special award distinguished service to veterans, Judge Marisa Tinkler Mendez.
And now, yep. Let's have a round of applause for the vets. That's why we're doing this. It's not about us, it's about them and their service. Thank you, vets. Now we'll take you county by county as we recognize each honoree, starting with Judge Elijah Williams. Chief Judge Dak Tudor will provide a few remarks of welcome, then we'll be joined by the BCBA President Allison Smith to honor and recognize our very own Judge Williams. Chief and Allison, the floor is yours.
This microphone here. This mic. All right. Good evening, everyone. And I also want to welcome everybody this evening. I want to specifically welcome my two colleagues, Chief Judges. I thought I heard Milian and Safety are with us tonight, so I welcome you all. And I also welcome all of the visitors. And as Braulio pointed out, the sponsors are a very important people to these kinds of events. So we appreciate everybody's helping out in making this event possible. So I was asked this evening to say a few words about my friend and colleague, Judge Williams. And as I was contemplating exactly what I would say here, Judge Williams, it struck me that when you go through life, everybody, all among us, and I'm often quoted on this, that we're all really imperfect in the eyes of God. So none of us are perfect. We all make mistakes. We all strive to do the best we can in whatever we're doing. But there's kind of an exception here, and that's kind of Judge Williams. I'm going to tell you about a few of his faults in a minute, but before I do, I just don't think that there are a few people in your life that you cross paths with that you never forget. If you've ever been in Judge Williams' courtroom, the first time I ever saw it, I was really, really happy I was not the defendant in the courtroom. He is one of the most vibrant, forceful, energetic personalities you could ever meet. He does his job with honor and distinction. There's not a time that I haven't asked Judge Williams to help out. He worked last week when everybody was sitting at home during the hurricane. He came in and even as chair of the division, did all of the detention hearings and was in the courthouse under trying circumstances. But more importantly, when you see Judge Williams in a few minutes, those of you who don't know him, he's really a very young guy. But in just a few months, he's going to be the #2 seniority person in the second largest judicial circuit in this state. And that's kind of hard to believe that you're second in jurisdiction there, Judge Williams. So there's nothing, I could go on here and talk about Judge Williams for a long time. He is just what we strive for in the judiciary to be. He does his job, a difficult job, juveniles every day, and he's been doing that for a long time. He's never asked to get away from any difficult assignments. And I'm just proud to be his chief judge. I'm proud to be his colleague. And now you ask about his faults. There, really, Judge Williams, I mean, I don't know you as well as some folks who maybe socialize with you, but I do know one thing, and I think your lovely wife is with us here tonight. There's one thing that for certain has to happen. That 25-year-old car that you keep driving into the parking lot for the last 20 years that keeps breaking down, it's about time you got a pay raise that you replaced that car. Am I right? I mean, that car he has had, you're getting a standing ovation on that. I give to you all, you want to say some words right first, and then I'll hand him the award. So Judge Williams, on behalf of all of us at the 17th, not just because of your service to the country and your service to the circuit, because you're just one of the finest human beings I know. I congratulate you, and this award is well deserved, sir.
So Judge Williams, I'm not going to take very long, but I wanted to make sure that I could come up here and recognize you. Also, I'm going to read your bio for everyone. Before, before I do that though, I wanted to say thank you again to Braulio for putting this together, for conceptualizing this event, because to borrow something that Marilyn, his wife, said before we started, this is such an under-recognized portion of our legal population. There are so many attorneys and members of the judiciary who are veterans or who are still currently serving as in the reserves, and they don't really get recognized. And it's so important because you are the backbone of this country. You're protecting our freedoms. The reason somebody like me can stand here, you know, as a woman from another country and stand here in this audience and feel free is because of people like you. My sister is also a veteran, so veterans to me are very, very meaningful. And we have James here, and I know his heart also is with veterans as well. So thank you again to Braulio for conceptualizing this and for recognizing people, not just you, we did it last year as well, but anybody who is giving such an amazing service to our country. That's so important. So it's not a perfunctory exercise, it's a really meaningful thing. And I know it's Braulio's favorite event of the year, and it's rapidly becoming mine because I think it's such an important thing. So thank you for your service.
Thank you.
And one thing I have to add before I read your bio is that your wife is here, as the chief judge pointed out, and he pointed out to me that she's a lieutenant colonel, which means she outranks him. And I'm also all about women power. So, so I have to tip my hat to her, and he has to say, ma'am, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, to her. So I love that. So just to read a little bit about you. So those who don't know you, because we have people from all over the state looking at this right now. Judge Williams is not only a native Floridian, he's a native South Floridian because he was born and raised here. It's one of the few, right? As most of us are transplants from somewhere else, but he was born and raised here. And something that we have in common is that you started college at the age of 16. So did I, actually. Started college at the age of 16. Amazing. He earned his Bachelor of Arts degree in Political Science in 1980. And he got a graduate fellowship. He won it $26,000. He won a graduate fellowship and he went to the University of Florida. He got awarded a Master's of Arts degree in Political Science, Public Administration, in 1983. And then he was admitted to the Florida Bar a few months after that. He was commissioned as a captain in the U.S. Air Force in 1984, where he was assigned to the Staff Judge Advocate General's Department and sent to Lowry Air Force Base in Colorado, and then transferred over to England, lovely England. Sorry, I lost my presentation. Hold on, here we go. And he was transferred over to England. He was there for a bit. He actually also taught 2 college level courses as well for the University of Maryland. In 1989, he won a Toastmasters International Regional Speech Contest. I bet you have a good speech for us today. No, he's winging it tonight. In July 1990, he resigned from the U.S. Air Force. He was appointed as an assistant state attorney here in our lovely Broward County. He left his position as a prosecutor in 1992, where he went into a private law firm to serve as assistant general counsel to the sheriff of Broward County at that time. He made a partner on January 2nd, 1995. And then in 1998, he transitioned into the Broward Sheriff's Office as an employee and managed the legal and risk management departments. He had a staff of over 20 people at that time, which included 6 attorneys. And then in November 2001, he applied to become a circuit judge. He was one of many attorneys who were seeking to fill that spot. Very, very difficult thing to do, by the way. As one of 6 nominees selected by the Judicial Nominating Commission, his name was forwarded to the governor at that time, Jeb Bush. Governor Bush, on March 1st, 2002, appointed him to our circuit court, where he's been ever since. He presided over felony cases for the first 4 years. And then in 2006, he got transferred over to juvenile delinquency cases. And that's where he is now, serving us so well. Thank you so much for being such a great representation for us. We really appreciate you. And you were immediately the name that came to mind when we wanted to think about who we're giving this award to. So thank you for your service, not just in the military, but as a member of our judiciary. We really appreciate it.
That thing is for me.
This thing is for you. This is, look at
Looking
this.
at that.
Look at this. This is for you.
you. I'll give it to my wife. Chief, thank you. You know, I always say this about Chief Judge Jack Tudor. My judicial assistant, Gina Trent DeCosta, is here in the back. And she's heard me say this a million times, is that I can't figure out what Jack Tudor got his leadership skills, because I don't think he's ever been in the military. So I scratched my head. I guess he ran DEA in Florida and stuff like that. So I figured he must have picked it up since then. But I just appreciate you, Chief, just for being you, who you are. And my wife is here. Again, she outranks me. You know, I just want to talk for maybe like 2 or 3 minutes, and I'm going to sit on down. There are people here who should be honored much more higher than me. But this past Saturday, I did the eulogy for a funeral of a Tuskegee Airman. And I'm sure you guys recognize who the Tuskegee Airmen are. And the gentleman was 90 years old and served his country in such a remarkable way. I looked at my own service saying it was nothing compared to a Tuskegee Airman. But then I went back to something when I was in the Air Force. The Court of Military Appeals, as you know, is kind of like the Supreme Court for military service members. We rarely get our cases before the US Supreme Court. It's a 5-judge panel of federal judges appointed by the president, and the Senate confirms them. Well, Judge Robinson Everett, a North Carolina judge, I'm sure Judge, and you've heard of him, Judge Robinson, was a Duke professor, got the job for 10 years. And I heard him speak, and he had this way of giving these quips. And his students oftentimes said it would be a quip, it would be nonsensical, but when you thought about it, it made a lot of sense. But Judge Robinson Everett said something at this luncheon in Munich. He said to all of us, he said, you know, I can't understand military people talking about their individual rights. It makes no sense to me, because the minute you sign the dotted line, you've given up your right to live, because the commander can order you to go out and die. So the other rights become meaningless to some extent. And I got to thinking what he says. Everyone on this here call here, we may not have paid life and limb, but I can certainly tell you we gave up our rights. Our rights to decide what country we're going to live in. Our rights to decide where we're going to work, where our kids are going to go to school. And I think that that's what honors me the more when I see like judges in robes and lawyers who at one point in their life gave up their rights, not necessarily life and limb, that's a whole nother ball game, but they gave up their rights, and now they find themselves as members of the bar and as judges fighting for the rights and protections of those who could appear before them or with them. So I just want to say thank you. I salute all of your service. And you don't know what it means to see my fellow colleagues here. Chris Brown, congratulations. All of you, Cal Evans, I married you, performed the wedding. Carlos Charbula, my colleague, my deepest friend. All of you, my wife, Mindy, all of you, just thank you for being you. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Judge Tudor and Allison, and a round of applause for Judge Williams.
All right. And now we go to Jacksonville, where Judge Meredith Charbula will be recognized by President-elect Blaine McCarthy. Take it away, Blaine.
You guys are on
You're
mute.
on mute.
All right, we'll try it again. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here, to be a part of this wonderful event. I applaud Braulio and the others who have found it fit to pay special honor to our veterans who have given so much. And it's my pleasure to introduce the Jacksonville Bar Association and the 4th Judicial Circuit's award winner, Meredith Charbula. I did want to take a few minutes to read her bio. She received her bachelor's degree on a full scholarship with the U.S. Army. She then went on to graduate from Army Parachute Course, airborne at Fort Benning, Georgia. She was one of 12 ladies in a class of 500, so groundbreaking at that point. She served as a military police officer stationed in the United States and in Europe for 5 years. She then decided to become a lawyer. She enrolled in Florida State College of Law, graduated in 1987. Go Seminoles. Worked a few years, but felt the call back into military service. So she rejoined as an active member of the Army Judge Advocacy. She served 9 years in that capacity, stationed in the United States, in Bosnia, and in Croatia. She received her Master's of Law degree from Judge Advocate General School. After leaving active service in the military, she private practice, but primarily she spent the bulk of her legal career working as a government lawyer, primarily in the prosecution side, but with a variety of fields of service. She was appointed to the county court bench in 2007 and in the spring of 2017. And in the spring of 2019, Governor DeSantis elevated her to preside in the circuit court, where she currently serves on the felony division. It is our pleasure to present to Judge Charbula this award, the Florida Patriot. Well deserved, Your Honor.
Thank you so much. Well, was honored to serve my country in the Army Reserves and the United States Army for 23 years. I am honored to serve the people of the state of Florida as a county and circuit judge. I thank the Jacksonville Bar Association for honoring me here today, and I thank all of you for being here for me. And all the rest of the veterans, my hearty congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you, President-elect Blaine McCarthy, and another round of applause for Judge Charbula.
We're gonna really try hard.
Wow, airborne. That is super duper impressive, let me tell you. And now we go to Dade County. Chief Judge Nushin Saifi and COAABA President Miriam Soler Ramos will recognize Judge Alberto Milian, followed by a presentation of the Distinguished Service to Veterans Award to Judge Marisa Tinkler Mendez, sponsored by and presented by GOAABA. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Broward. Can you hear us?
Yes.
So greetings to everyone. Judge Al Milian's not here tonight, but I'm just going to speak about him for a few minutes because hopefully he'll see this recording. They changed it when the day was changed. He was not able to make it. He had a previously scheduled event. But for those of you that know Judge Milian, I think some of the people in Broward do, because he practiced in Broward for a long time before he joined us on the bench here, and he was a regular fixture not only in the courts here but in the courts in Broward. And anyone who knows Al, first of all, I'm going to say to know Al is to love him, but also you'll know that within minutes, if not seconds, of meeting Al, you're going to hear pretty quickly about his military career because he's so proud of it. And I think he definitely views the bench as sort of an extension of that. And he's definitely been a wonderful soldier to us since he's been on the bench. He's been presiding in the criminal division. And his courtroom is very much a well-oiled machine. And in addition to being, a tight ship, he really has garnered the love of the people that work in the courtroom with him. None of them want to leave ever. So it's very difficult to get lawyers in and out of that courtroom because once they're a Judge Milian's lawyer, they want to stay there. And with that, I'm going to read a statement that he gave. He's very honored and it's sad he couldn't be here, but I'm going to read the statement now that Al prepared. 26 years after my family and I arrived in the United States from communist Cuba, I walked into the headquarters of the CIA in Langley, Virginia, and went to the 7th floor to receive a Bronze Star Medal from the U.S. Army and a citation from the Director of Central Intelligence for my services during the First Gulf War. It had been less than 2 years that I had also volunteered to go on Operation Just Cause, our fight to expel and arrest dictator Manuel Noriega. I joined the Army at age 18 as a simple private because I wanted to repay our great country for the gift of freedom that it had bestowed on my family. Military service can be daunting, physically challenging, and emotionally taxing. There is nothing that will catch your attention faster than drawing up a will as a teenage soldier. I am proud that I joined, received an education, and was rewarded by achieving the rank of captain. More importantly, I was able to volunteer for 2 conflicts to partially repay that enormous debt. I agree with General Patton that the soldier is the Army. No Army is better than its soldiers. The soldier is also a citizen. In fact, the highest obligation and privilege of citizenship is that of bearing arms for one's country. Thank you for honoring me with this award. I am not a hero, but I had the privilege and honor of walking with quite a few of them in peace and war. So congratulations to Judge Milian, and we're happy to have him as our. And I'm going to turn it over to Miriam to present the award to Judge Tinkler Mendez. But I want to say thank you to Braulio and to Miriam and to everyone who's involved with the Florida Patriot for beginning this award here in Miami. Judge Tinkler Mendez and I together founded the Veterans Court, and she came on as an incredible champion wanting to do this. I had to hold her back for years while we set it up and did trainings and whatnot. And she is, you know, to watch her in action, to see the emails that come to her afterwards from the veterans that she has helped along the way is just, it's incredible. And I'm so grateful that you all are not just honoring veterans, but also honoring someone like Judge Tinkler Mendez, who's really devoted so much of her time and energy in helping veterans in need.
Thank you, Judge Safety. I couldn't agree more. Braulio, thank you for starting this event last year. I mean, it's such a great idea and something that I think we needed to do, especially this month when we celebrated Veterans Day. And so, Braulio, thank you also for being open to Judge Safety and my idea to honor someone that is not a veteran, but that has done so much for veterans, because that's also an important thing to do. And so it's my greatest honor to present the first ever Service to Veterans Award to Judge Tinkler Mendez. So I'm going to read some prepared statements about Judge Tinkler Mendez. So again, it's my greatest honor to present this to you, Judge. Judge Tinkler Mendez has honorably served on the Circuit Court bench since she was elected in 2006. Prior to being elected to the bench, she practiced in the area of criminal defense, and she was also a special assistant public defender. She earned her bachelor's degree with a major in biology from Syracuse University and her Juris Doctor from Suffolk University School of Law. Today, we honor Judge Tinkler Mendez for her years of service to the 11th Judicial Circuit Veterans Treatment Court, which we're very lucky to have in this county, which she helped found, as Judge Safety just said, and where she's presided with its creation in 2017. The Veterans Treatment Court recognizes that veterans have very unique needs that are different from a regular civilian, and that often the things that they experience in military service lead to mental health issues and or substance abuse disorders. And the idea behind the specialized court is to offer eligible veterans treatment and rehabilitative services that are monitored by the court for nonviolent offenses instead of prolonged periods of incarceration that just continue to add to their trauma. Judge Tinkler Mendez's dedication to this court is unparalleled, in the words of Judge Safety. In fact, this is not the first time that the judge has been recognized for her commitment to service to the Veterans Treatment Court. In January 2020, she was awarded the Veterans Justice Award by the Academy of the United States Veterans, which recognizes individuals that have had a significant impact in combating the unnecessary criminalization of mental illness and extended incarceration of veterans. As a newly minted member of an Army family, I am particularly honored to bestow this award upon Judge Tinkler Mendez. Congratulations, Your Honor.
This is phenomenal. I just have a few things I wanted to say. I wanted to thank my chief, Miriam, my other colleagues that are here, Judge De La O, Judge Wolfson, my son who is here sharing this with me, Danny, my husband, David. I'm really humbled by the thought that you would create an honor for doing something that brings me such a tremendous amount of personal pleasure. In the last 5 years of this court, years ago when I heard about an opportunity to, Miami-Dade County has been at the forefront of problem-solving courts for those justice involved to address individuals with substance disorders and mental health disorders. And I had the opportunity through former Chief Judge Soto to attend a drug court, National Association of Drug Court Professional Conference. And I learned about the unique issues involving veterans and their special needs that I saw really required a separation from our other problem-solving courts into their own personalized program. And yes, Judge Safey held me back, but I was relentless on ensuring that we could create here in Miami-Dade County, who has a very, very large number of veterans in the community. And unfortunately, many become justice involved, to push forward and get the okay to do so. And not only the okay, but the encouragement and the support. And I can't be more humbled again by the fact that you would all consider someone who has not had the honor, or who's not made the sacrifices, frankly, of everyone else here being honored tonight, to this country. And to have the opportunity to work with these veterans, to learn about them, to watch them regain themselves and feel special again, and receive the recognition and the personal attention that they have all earned by the sacrifices, and some making the ultimate sacrifice to us to keep us safe here in the United States and in our special community. Again, it's been a village that has been supportive of our efforts. And, you know, I have so many shout outs to make, but I do want to, again, GOAABA pro bono agreed to take on the collateral issues that some of our veterans in our court program faced, involving, you know, landlord-tenant issues, family matters, and they agreed as our first partners outside of the justice partners to come in and work with us. We have seen just remarkable change. I am blessed that I've had the opportunity to make an impact on people's lives, and a positive impact on people's lives, particularly serving in the criminal division of the court. It's remarkable when you can see people's lives change for the better, and be productive, recognized citizens in our community that they deserve. So I want to thank you all again for bestowing this honor upon me, and to all of you for considering and creating this award. But really, I'm just beginning, and there's much work to do. So I intend to continue that for as long as I'm allowed to. Thank you again.
Thank you, Chief Judge Safey and President Solero Ramos. And one last round of applause for Judge Milian and Judge Tinkler Mendez.
And now to Lee County, where Attorney John Agnew will be recognized by Lee County Bar Association President Tiffany Pereira. Madam President, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Courtney. Good evening. Thank you, Braulio and the Broward County Bar, for having us and hosting such a wonderful and meaningful program. When you initially reached out to our Executive Director, Lauren Baugh, to offer our participation in this program, we both immediately came up with the same name of John Agnew. And when we went to our Executive Council and our membership, everyone had the same response, John Agnew. I'm privileged and honored to be able to tell you a little bit more about John, though I barely feel even qualified to introduce someone as outstanding as him. He is a pillar in our community, and he will always greet you with a smile, advice, help, professionalism. And for a young attorney such as myself, it means so much to have someone like that. So thank you, John. John is in private practice with his firm, Boy, Agnew, Patana McMiller, which specializes in employment and government law. He holds the highest AV preeminent rating by Martindale-Hubbell, has been named to Florida's legal elite, and has been selected annually by Florida super lawyers for recognition every year since 2009. He spent his first 12 years in practice at a larger firm with a primary focus in business litigation, but ultimately found his legal calling in government work. Since 2018, he has served as the city attorney for the city of Sanibel through a contract with his firm, and that work occupies the majority of his practice. However, he also serves as general counsel or employment counsel for other government entities and private businesses. John is active in serving in the Florida Bar. From 2019 until now, he has served as a member of the Florida Bar Board of Governors and currently serves as co-chair of the Special Committee on Changes to the Practice of Law, vice chair of the Disciplinary Procedure Committee, and designated reviewer for Grievance Committee 20C. He previously served 5 years on the Lee County Bar Association's Executive Committee, including service as the LCBA's president in 2014. He is also past appointee to the 20th Judicial Circuit Professionalism Committee and 20th Judicial Circuit Local Professionalism Panel. John is active in serving the general community as well. Earlier this year, he completed his second term as president of the Board of Directors for Abuse Counseling and Treatment Inc. Act, and previously served several years on the executive committee for the Board of Directors for PACE Center for Girls of Lee County. Prior to becoming an attorney, John was an Army Ranger with 14 years of her service between the regular Army and the Army National Guard. After completing infantry basic training and airborne school, he passed the selection program to serve in the 75th Ranger Regiment and thereafter served with 2nd Ranger Battalion, where he had overseas deployments to Haiti and Panama. During his tenure in Ranger Regiment, he graduated from Ranger School and EMT School and earned his Expert Infantryman's Badge. He then served on active duty with the Long Range Surveillance Detachment 101st Airborne Division. While there, he completed SEER School and Air Assault School and twice represented the 101st in the Army's annual Best Ranger competition, finishing 3rd overall in his second competition. After completing his regular Army commitment, he transitioned his service to the Kentucky Army National Guard while he completed his undergraduate and law degrees at the University of Kentucky with help from the GI Bill and Army College Fund. During law school, his unit was called to active duty. After 6 months of service stateside conducting interagency and counter-drug operations, his unit deployed for 12 months to Bosnia, where he began the deployment as a squad leader, but completed the deployment serving as the platoon sergeant and then platoon leader. Upon his return from the deployment, he accepted a direct commission as an infantry officer. After completing law school, he attended infantry officer basic course, where he was an honor graduate while teaming up with another Ranger qualified classmate to compete in his 3rd and final Best Ranger competition, placing 5th overall. He completed his final year of service as an infantry officer in the Florida Army National Guard, resigning his commission to focus full-time on his family and legal career. During his military service, John held all enlisted ranks from private to sergeant first class and officer ranks of 2nd lieutenant and 1st lieutenant. In addition to the schools already mentioned, he is a graduate of the Primary Leadership Development Course, Basic Non-Commissioned Officers Course, Advanced Non-Commissioned Officers Course, Rappel Master School, and NBC School. In addition to decorations, badges, and campaign ribbons for the previously mentioned schools and deployments, some of his additional awards include the following: the Army Commendation Medal, 4 awards, Army Achievement Medal, 7 awards, the Expert Rifleman's Badge, and the Chief's 50th Marksmanship Badge. Thank you for joining us, and join me in congratulating John Agnew. Yay.
Thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate the kind words, and it's almost embarrassing. That's a long intro, and I know I provided that material. Thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for the kind words, President Lesser. Thank you, Braulio, for putting your vision, putting this together. I'm honored and humbled to be the 20th Circuit's recipient of this award. Anytime I'm thanked for my service, my response is typically, it was my pleasure, and it was. I give the Army credit for saving me from myself, at least my 19-year-old self. As a 19-year-old, I was in pretty rough shape. I had attended 2 non-consecutive semesters of college and couldn't get out of my own way. I was partying hard, quick to fight, slow to get up in the morning, which wasn't conducive to 8 a.m. classes, and just couldn't mesh whatever aptitude I had with a drive. And so that led me to an Army recruiter's office, where I said in a more colorful way, what's the hardest job in the Army because I'm all messed up and I need to be fixed. Now, if he had been doing his job, he probably would have said, yeah, we don't do that. That's not really how it works. But what he did say was Airborne Ranger, and he pulled out a laser disc and put it in and said, this is it. And I was hooked. I was hopeful that would be what cured me, and thankfully it was. It ultimately worked out. I naively showed up to the recruiter, but I made it through that pipeline and was able to serve my country in Ranger Regiment and some other great units. And among the many of the lessons that I learned there was how to marry up my drive and my potential. And I think that is probably common for anyone that served. A lack of maybe recognition of where you can go until you've been sufficiently pushed beyond those limits. And so those experiences for me as an infantryman, particularly as an airborne ranger, might not have had direct translation to what I do as a lawyer, but the intangibles of it couldn't have served me better. Those experiences instilled in me a drive and appreciation for where hard work and preparation can take you, the value of respect and professionalism, a sense of accountability in your failures, a sense of humbleness in your successes, and a desire to continue to serve, whether that's your country, your community, your family. So I'm very appreciative of those opportunities and grateful and humbled by the recognition today. Thank you. Thank you again, Tiffany, and the board of Lee County Bar Association for that selection, and to everyone on this call. I'm humbled to be among you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiffany, and also another round of applause for John. I mean, that you say it's lengthy and embarrassing. That's impressive. I mean, some people have the Ranger tab and they were never part of a Ranger regiment. That's very impressive. So a round of applause for you.
Thank you.
Our host is on mute.
You're muted, Braulio.
That's what we all learned during this time. Goodness. Now we go to Hillsborough County Bar Association, where last year's recipient, Matthew Hall, Esquire, will recognize Judge Daryl Manning.
Well, thank you very much. My name is Matthew Hall. I'm sitting here for the HCBA president, Jacqueline Sims Patriot, who wasn't able to be here today, but it was my honor. It was a great honor. I get to introduce the 13th Circuit's selection for the 2022 Florida Patriot Award. Our honoree is a man of humility and service, and I believe he truly embodies the spirit of the Florida Patriot Award. Judge Daryl Manning had a 30-year military career, starting at 17 years old. It was both impressive and distinguished. He grew up in New York City, joined the Army in 1985, again, as a teenager. Had to get his parents to sign, just like some of us in this room had to get their parents to sign in order to join. He earned a Bronze Star as a field artillery officer in Desert Storm. And then he would go on to serve as a JAG officer and deploying to both Afghanistan and Iraq. And it's not just the 30 years of service with Judge Manning, it's that he's never ended his service. It's well beyond his distinguished military career. It's beyond even serving on the bench since 2016, about a year after he retired. He's a ready and active volunteer. It's many organizations that he's involved in here in Tampa Bay. He's at Kids Place of Tampa Bay, Big Brothers and Big Sisters for a long time. Meals on Wheels. He's been a volunteer for delivering meals. It's one of your more enjoyable ways to get out of the courthouse. But and he also serves for the Hillsborough County Bar. He also serves as our liaison to the Hillsborough County Veterans Council, and he's been running our veterans outreach courts for many years now. He's always someone who can be relied on to assist, and not just to assist, but to do the job well. And one of the things that I think is most powerful for Judge Manning, besides his humility and his respect for others, he was once asked why serving was so important, and his response was both simple and powerful. He said, "I've been blessed, and I think those who have been blessed should share with others." So it is with great honor that I get to present this award to a very truly deserving Florida Patriot.
Thank you so much, Matt. Matt is a true patriot, and so are many others of my colleagues here in Hillsborough County. I thank you all so much for the award. I thank the Florida Bar. I thank this group of individuals that have come together and thought it worthy to recognize those of us that have worn the uniform and those of us that continue to serve. I thank those individuals here in the Hillsborough County, the Hillsborough County Bar, the MVAC, Military Veterans Affairs Committee, and all the other many veterans, more than 98,000 veterans here in Hillsborough County, the largest conglomerate of veterans within our state. And I find it an honor and a privilege to continue my service. What I think is that action rather than words. And that's why my time up here will be very short, because that's where the rubber hits the road. What we do out there, what we do when we see those veterans that need our help. Many of us are very fortunate to come back with minor wounds and to have the support of our friends and families. Else we wouldn't all be here where we are now. We have many veterans that weren't as fortunate as we were. And so when I saw their faces, when we had the Veterans Outreach Court about 2 weeks ago, and we saw many veterans that were down on their luck, that were in between jobs, that had failed transportation assets, and the housing wasn't up to the standards that we would accept. And to see them come in before one of the judges that was serving on the Veterans Outreach Court and to help them relieve that financial burden that they had. And I recall one gentleman, a quadriplegic in a wheelchair, left with a smile and holding his head up high as he had just been successful on the battlefield. And so with the help of everyone around me, it's a team effort here in Hillsborough. I thank everyone that is here. I thank everyone that I have the great opportunity and fortune to work with on a daily basis to give back to our community, specifically our veterans. I wear that as a badge of honor, and I hope to continue to serve this great county and this great state. Thank you all.
Thank you, Matthew, and another round of applause for Judge Manning.
And now we go to the Ninth Circuit, which is my home circuit. It's composed of Orange and Osceola counties. We have Judge Tina Caraballo, who will be recognized by Chief Judge Lisa Munyon. The leadership of 3 local bar associations are also present. The Hispanic Bar of Central Florida, Paul C. Perkins Bar Association, and Greater Orlando Asian American Bar Association. We have Presidents Cesar Nira, Ashley Wright, and President-elect David Yao.
Thank you, Courtney, and thank you, Braulio, for setting this up, and to the Broward County Bar Association for sponsoring this event. I know that you all know that the role of a county judge in a large county is demanding. Judge Tina Caraballo tackles those demands with enthusiasm. While it can be tempting to let the need of efficiency override the concern of the individual litigant before you, Judge Caraballo admirably balances the needs of the litigant with the demands of the calendar. Throughout her tenure as a county judge, she has consistently demonstrated her professionalism and her patience, her deep understanding of the law, and her commitment to those who appear before her. While the legal community and her colleagues recognize those admirable qualities, I've seen them firsthand in watching her represent clients when she was in private practice and I presided over business court. She was an awesome lawyer and is an awesome judge. While most of us might be satisfied with being an outstanding lawyer and judge, Tina is not, and she has volunteered to improve the branch in leadership roles throughout her career. She is active in the Conference of County Judges and previously served as the Ninth Circuit Representative and 5th District Vice President. She has served on the Awards and Merit, Conference, and Problem-Solving Specialty Court Standing Committees. She also chairs the Traffic Rules Committee. In addition to her work for the conference, she's active in the Florida Bar and serves on the Military and Veterans Affairs Committee and the Constitutional Judiciary Committee. In 2021, Judge Caraballo was appointed to be the administrative judge of the county courts in Orange County. During her brief time as administrative judge in such a large county, she's revised the operational procedures for small claims pretrial conferences to reduce the pandemic-related backlog. Her revisions brought Orange County into compliance with the small claims rules, allowing small claims pretrials to occur within the required 50 days rather than the 6 to 9 months that had become the norm. Almost single-handedly, she cleared the traffic infraction and county ordinance backlog. Not only did she ensure that traffic infractions were timely scheduled before hearing officers, she heard the cases required to be handled by a judge herself, increasing the number of those cases that were being heard from only 181 in 2020 to 1,326 in 2021. To deal with the tremendous backlog in county civil cases, she oversaw the restructuring of the county court assignments to better distribute the workload between the criminal and civil divisions. She's worked with the clerk's and sheriff's office to streamline procedures for scheduling and rescheduling cases. And she's also overseen the use of pandemic recovery OPS positions in county court, which include a magistrate and case managers, and taken on the task to train them. With her leadership, County Civil has significantly reduced the pandemic-related backlog. She has advocated for greater resources to make the county civil judges, magistrates, and case managers more effective and efficient. In addition to those tasks, she continues to mentor the unprecedented number of new judges that have been appointed to our county court. While the accomplishments outlined above may seem impossible in just over a year as administrative judge, Judge Caraballo's leadership skills are of long standing. Prior to her admission to the Florida Bar, she served in the United States Army from 1984 to 1994. She was a nuclear, biological, and chemical specialist. As a staff sergeant, Judge Caraballo served as a squad leader during Operations Desert Storm and Shield in the 12th Chemical Company 1st Infantry Division. Upon returning from the war, she was inducted into the Sergeant Audie Murphy Club, a private U.S. Army organization for enlisted non-commissioned officers that exemplify leadership characterized by personal concern for the needs, training, development, and welfare of soldiers and concern for the families of soldiers. She served as an instructor at the 1st Infantry Division, Fort Riley, Kansas, Nuclear, Biological, and Chemical School. Judge Caraballo graduated #1 in her primary leadership development course and was awarded the General Patton Award for Excellence. While stationed in Germany, she was the 29th Area Support Group and 21st Support Command Soldier of the Year. She served on a special unit that instructed military hard sites throughout Europe on detection and decontamination procedures during a nuclear, biological, or chemical attack. Following her military service, Judge Caraballo became a life member of the Veterans of Foreign Wars and served as an officer at the local post until 2020. While our branch has many talented judges, I can think of few judges as deserving of this award as my friend and colleague, Tina Caraballo. Tina. Congratulations. Take a picture before your remarks. It's big.
Thank you, Judge Manion. You really embarrassed me there, but thank you. You said that was your stated goal and it worked. So I want to thank the Florida Patriot and Braulio and the Broward County Bar Association for honoring veterans in the legal field. I want to thank you again, Judge Manion, for those very kind words, and Judge Navarro and the members of our local voluntary bar associations for helping make this evening possible. I'd also like to thank those in attendance, including my family members and all of those joining us virtually. I was asked to speak briefly about how the military influenced me. It is an understatement to say that the Army made me the person that I am today. I believe there are 3 categories of events that shape the person that I have become. The first is youth. I was 17 years old when I enlisted in the Army, and I was still in high school. Under the delayed entry program, I went on active duty after graduation. I turned 18 at the end of AIT, just 2 months prior to reporting to my first permanent duty station in Germany. I was impressionable and I fell in love with the Army from the first day at the reception center. The discipline, structure, and rules were my favorite parts. The second category of events I call the good. Learning new and different things, meeting challenges, conquering fears. You cannot complete Victory Tower at Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and not have confidence that you can do anything. It's a rope course, cargo nets, and rappelling all in one. Learning cadences, firing weapons, throwing hand grenades, making flame field expedients, leading soldiers, being in charge of $1 million worth of equipment, plotting the course of a persistent nerve agent, all the training and obstacles that you overcome together with your squad, your platoon, and your company build esprit de corps and confidence that you can rely on your fellow soldiers. Being surrounded from people all over the United States and other countries and being exposed to different cultures and reinforcing all of the Army values. Of course, the best part of the good of my time in the Army was meeting my husband of 36 years and having my 2 sons while I was still serving. The third category of events I call sorrow because I don't have a better word for it. The profound melancholy of deploying for war and not knowing if you'll ever see your husband or your son again when we both deployed, and then the subsequent wartime deployments that he had after I got out. The deep sadness of losing fellow soldiers and the impact of harsh and strange conditions. I don't even want to get started about the bugs in Kuwait. But you put all of those things together in the hopper and turn it around a few times, and what comes out is a person with an exaggerated confidence and enduring fortitude. My first reaction to any obstacle is I can do it or I can make it happen until I've proven otherwise. I also have an expectation that those around me are properly trained and prepared for the day's events, that they follow the rules and are on time. I am loyal and have a fierce sense of protection for those on my team. My good friend Gisela calls it my mama bear instinct. And finally, I have some barriers or emotional walls. That's not my best trait, but those are there and to protect against the sorrow and sometimes make me seem harsh, or another word people have for me. But you put all of those things together, and for better or worse, that's how the Army shaped the judge that I am today and provides a little bit of insight into my character. But I want to just congratulate all my other fellow veterans, and I so appreciate the recognition. I'm humbled by tonight and the people supporting me and my fellow veterans. And thank you all, and thank you for your time.
Thank you to Chief Judge Munyon and the presidents of the local bar associations that are there. And a round of applause again for Judge Caraballo.
Next up, we have Palm Beach County Bar Association President-elect Grassford Smith, who will recognize Judge Ted Booras. But before I hand it over to him, my colleague in Palm Beach, the Executive Director, Carla Brown, had sent me a nice picture and asked me to share. So I will do that briefly. And so this was the picture of the president-elect presenting it to his honor, and lovely picture. And thank you for both being part of this. And I'll stop sharing. And so the floor is yours, Mr. President-elect.
Thank you and good evening. On this night of gratitude, of course, we can't thank our military service members enough for putting themselves in harm's way. Definitely want to thank the organizers and the sponsors for giving us this space and opportunity to share this recognition. And I also want to thank the military families, because we know that they support those who go out there and put themselves in harm's way. When Executive Director Carla Brown asked me to present this award tonight, it really meant a lot to me personally, because I grew up in a military family. My father served 18 years in the Jamaican Army, and my sister is serving 26 years in the U.S. Marine Corps, and she's been deployed a number of times in Afghanistan and Iraq. So I know all the strains and pressures that puts on family members. So I had definitely the privilege of recognizing Judge Booras, who I met a few days ago and had the privilege of introducing him to my sister. And they spoke in my presence, and that was something of a sight to watch. Judge Booras received his law degree from Nova Southeastern University in 1986. For 14 years preceding his election to the bench, Judge Booras was the Chief Assistant State Attorney for the 15th Judicial Circuit in Palm Beach County. He began his legal career as a prosecutor in 1985 and then spent 6 years in private practice before returning to prosecution in 1993. Since that time, he was a chief of the County Court Division and the training director. As a prosecutor, Judge Booras lectured regularly throughout Florida on the topic of ethics, drunk driving, domestic violence, and also nationally on ethics. Judge Booras served 4 years on active duty in the U.S. Marine Corps, earning an honorable discharge with the rank of sergeant. He also spent 12 years in the Florida Highway Patrol Auxiliary, achieving the rank of captain. So he continued his service even after the military. Judge Booras was elected to the county court bench in September 2006 and started his term in January 2007. On November 11, 2010, I think you want to hear this, Judge Booras began the Veterans Court in Palm Beach County, where he currently presides, as well as being assigned to the county court criminal. Judge Booras, we can't thank you enough for your service, and I turn it over to you.
Thank you. It's the first time somebody who said they were pleased to introduce me to their sister, but okay. I want to thank everybody for this award. And the question I get asked regularly is, yes, I did serve in Camp Lejeune. Yes, I drank the water, and I'm still here. In the 4 years, yes, some of you watch the History Channel and see all the commercials. In the 4 years I served on active duty, I spent 28 months overseas. 4 years, I never spent one Christmas, Thanksgiving, my birthday, or any other holiday at home. I have no regrets because I was never alone. I was always with the people I served, and we were the biggest family going. I took those experiences to the bench in 2010 when we created Veterans Court with the idea that these veterans who are down and out, wrong side of the law, aren't forgotten, and somebody cares about them, and we get them as many services as possible. And that is truly a calling, something that has made being a judge extremely worthwhile, beside of all the other things you can do, presiding over Veterans Court with people who have served, people who were willing to give their all for this country and now find themselves in a bad situation. And we do everything we can to get their lives back together and get them back on their feet. And it's been extremely rewarding 12 years doing that. Again, I want to thank you for this award. and for all the people that helped me with that court. Thank you.
Thank you, Grassford, and thank you for your service, Your Honor. Thank you very much.
Now we go to the Panhandle in the First Circuit, where the Okaloosa Bar Association and the Walton County Bar Association teamed up to recognize Sarah Oberliesen, Amelia Beard, who's my Florida Bar Leadership classmate, and also the chair of the VBA Liaison Committee of the Florida Bar will present the award. Take it away, Amelia.
Thank you so much, Courtney, and glad you could remember our class, the COVID class, right? So Braulio and I go way back in terms of the Florida Voluntary Bar Liaison Committee, but we also share another connection in that he is a veteran and I have been married to the military for over 10 years. So this year when he asked for us to suggest someone or to bring someone forward on behalf of Okaloosa County Bar and also Walton County, I was so delighted that they presented me with Sarah Oberliesen. She is not just a wonderful loyal lawyer, but a great friend. And so I was just delighted to be able to present her with this award. Sarah has a very unique path, different than many of you. She is actually fairly new to her military service. She is a captain in the United States Air Force and has just reached about 2 years. What makes Sarah's path so important and just as worthy of recognition is that as a lawyer of over 15 years, she has spent the majority of her career as a public servant. And so that she continues to be a public servant through her profession as an attorney. And it doesn't surprise me that she brought that to the military. From where I sit as a military spouse and seeing Sarah come from the world that I work in as a lawyer and transition into the world that my husband has served in has just been an amazing transition. And the United States military is just very lucky to have such a wonderful advocate. So you're very deserving of this award, and I thank you for letting me present it to you.
Thank you, Amelia. Thank you so much, Amelia. I was allotted 5 minutes for this speech. It's been said that a lawyer cannot say their name in 5 minutes, but I will try. Since I'm the only thing keeping you from dinner, I will be brief. I'm honored to be in the company of so many veterans and supporters. I want to start by thanking those who nominated me and supported me. Thanks to the Walton County Bar Association, the Okaloosa Bar Association, my parents, happy birthday, Dad, my husband who is here, my children, Piper and Charlie, who are being angels sitting in the corner, my Colonel, William Deitch, who is present here today and running our computer and comms. Also, all of my friends and family who have helped shape me and supported me through my community service and my service to the country. If you've not been to the Emerald Coast, I invite you as my guest. I moved to Okaloosa County by the happiest of accidents. I moved from the big city Phoenix to the smaller city of Jacksonville to the nicest, tiniest little town that's literally called Niceville. We love our country cooking, we love our beaches, and we love our military. We have the largest military base in the world here at Eglin Air Force Base, where we are currently situated in the 96 MSG. We appreciate them hosting us here today. We also have Tyndall Air Force Base, Duke Field, Hurlburt Field, and one of the largest populations of veterans. One of the greatest gifts of my legal career came when I was assigned to be the public defender for the Honorable T. Patterson Navy when I first moved to town. For good and bad, he is who I am as a lawyer today. For those who do not know Judge Maney, he was a combat wounded veteran who was serving as a brigadier general working on the Constitution of Afghanistan when he was blown up by a roadside bomb. He worked tirelessly to return to the bench until his retirement and has always supported veterans in every way possible. He started the Veterans Stand Down and later the Veterans Court program, and I was here from the beginning of most of those. I saw his hard work to help those who served. I did not know it yet, but that started the seed for my future service. Over my almost 15-year career, I sought opportunities in service through my community organizations, bar associations, and my employment. I became one of the biggest proponents of bar associations. I met my husband in a bar meeting. I met one of my first private lawyer practitioner bosses at a bar meeting. I met many of my closest friends that became my village through my service. I currently work for Shelter House, helping survivors of domestic and sexual violence. Through my work in the community, I helped and worked with many members of the military. Eglin Air Force Base hosts all branches of the armed forces here, and many times the Air Force door was before me. I was asked to be an honorary commander and learned all about the base. I was able to fly in an F-16 and I made lifelong friends. I learned about the military family, and I did not know yet that I was being called to serve. One of the cases that will live in my heart forever was working to overturn a wrongfully convicted airman and return him to honorable service. I saw how his unit and the military stood behind him, and I learned what it meant to be all in. Eventually, through many other happy accidents, I decided to apply to the JAG Reserve. I had 2 kids, a supportive family, a job that I loved. Everything was great. So I thought I should stir it up. And at 40, I was accepted into the JAG Corps of the United States Air Force. I called on my village as I was gone for 18 weeks over the course of a year. It took my parents, my sisters, their families, neighbors, friends, all pitched in to fill my role with the family. I've always been called the team mom. I organize people. It's my special skill. And sometimes I bring the snacks. And I realized quickly the military needs a team mom. I get to do what I love best, connect people. And sometimes I bring the snacks. I've been able to bring some of the brightest legal minds in our community on base to help mentor the local JAGs. I was able to set up a mock trial so our new OSI agents could be grilled by one of the toughest defense attorneys in our town to learn how to handle the pressure. Through a joint effort with my amazing commander, Colonel Deitch, we had a historic Veterans Day meeting with over 90 people in attendance, which is huge for our small town, that included 9 DCA judges and 2 Supreme Court justices. We learned about the mission on Eglin Air Force Base and took a tour of the F-22 and F-35. Colonel Deitch has taught me so much about putting people first and lifting up those around you. He cares so much about making his lawyers better, and he lets me help him. Judge Maney's lessons on service will always sit on my heart, though I do not get to see him every day. Colonel Deitch's lessons on leading will guide me through the next 18 years of my service. I will continue to be the bridge between these worlds. Thank you so much for recognizing me and my service to the community and country. I will continue to seek out these opportunities to serve.
Thank you, Amelia, and a round of applause for Sarah. Thank you to everyone that's been here tonight. That concludes our program. Thank you for joining us at our 2nd annual Florida Patriot Honoring Legal Leaders Veteran Service to Country and Community event. We hope you all enjoyed it.
Special thank you to all the organizations that were involved and made this statewide effort possible. I want to thank tonight's honorees. You make America great. Hope to see you next year for our 3rd annual Florida Patriot program. And remember the Navy's unofficial motto, which is no CB sed patria, not for self, but for country. God bless you. God bless America, and good night.